Hey guys, Jonathan here, and in today's video, we're taking a look at both of the 101 Dalmatian sets that LEGO is releasing in June of 2025. LEGO sent these to me early to review, and I'm super grateful. You know, I rewatched the movie while I was building these, and oh my gosh, this movie had so much heart. I remember liking it growing up as a kid, and of course, who doesn't love little Dalmatian puppy dogs? And after building the big one, this is easily one of my favorite sets of 2025 so far, so I'm so excited to talk about it. But we'll start off with the smaller set down here, which is $20, and then we'll talk about the bigger set, which is $150. Alright, so the smaller set is Lucky and Penny, which are basically identical builds. We do get a little brick-built bone here, which is ingenious with only a handful of parts used to make it. And then we get the little TV set that we watched them watch the movie with Thunderbolt. I think it would have been cool to get a Canine Crunchies in there, but this does look really good, and the animation almost matches the movie perfectly. As far as the Dalmatians, like I said, the builds are basically identical. The only real changes, of course, are the collar, one being blue and one being red. And the way that that collar works is it basically just kind of goes between the ball joint hinge there on the neck. We do have stickers for the back here, which, of course, the sticker print is different on those, but these pieces are actually all printed, which is pretty nice. And we can move the tail. The tail's posable, the head is posable, and the legs move back and forward. And, of course, you could do all the usual poses you would think. The only other major changes, of course, are the ears, where we've got white and black ears depending. And, of course, we've got a tongue out on this one and no tongue there, although you could kind of see it on the inside. So it is interesting that they were able to get the builds so similar but have their own unique personality. And the eyes are printed pieces too, which are really nice. And again, for $20, I really don't know how you can argue with this. If you're a 101 Dalmatians fan, for $20, this is like a dream come true to get a cheap little set like this, and I highly recommend this one. So for the larger puppy set, it is pretty fascinating, right? It's a really great build, obviously very reminiscent of Simba last year, and like I said, it is one of my favorite builds of this entire year. I just think it's so phenomenal, the way that the shaping is, and of course the play features. Now, a couple things to talk about right off the bat. We do get enough collar pieces that you could switch out a red or blue collar depending on which puppy you want to build. And we also get all kinds of different name medallions here that you could switch out for whatever puppy you want to build. Me personally, I'm a big Raleigh fan because we're both always hungry.
I'm not sleepy. I'm hungry.
And so I had to build Raleigh. Now, the other thing to think about is when we look at the box, you can see that it shows us how to build a puppy with one black eye and then alternating ears. And that's something I really want to talk about here. So for Raleigh, he has two white ears with spots on it. And I kind of had to play around with the pieces, but you do get enough pieces that you could build two white ears, two black ears, or you could do alternating ears, which I think is so cool. Like, this is an expensive set, but if you bought multiples of them, you could have different combinations and build all kinds of different versions of the Dalmatian puppies, which I think is really cool. So I love that. Then, of course, the tongue is removable. You just pull the little invisible clip piece there out and you put it in there. So that's really simple. And then, of course, we have the big transformation feature. So in order to do this, we actually have to remove pretty much every part of the puppy. So we'll remove the head first, and then all of the legs come off, and you'll see that there are technic holes and pins built into the body. And basically, you just switch the front and the back legs in order to change his standing position. So you do have to play around with it just a little bit, but you'll see how all those holes are in there. So you just have to position the pins and the holes a little differently. But it is amazing that you use the exact same limbs and it works out perfect. And then the head actually has two different positions that you can insert the neck rods into. So when we do that, we'll put it into the bottom ones here, a little something like that. And now we have a completely different pose for the puppy, which is so unbelievably cool. The tail can move too, of course, which is great. And the only thing that there really is to point out is because the head has to go in two separate positions, as we change the puppy back to the sitting position, which I prefer, it's just a little bit easier to display in this pose, I feel. as far as like the way my shelves are laid out, it's just going to make more sense for me to have the puppy sitting, because it's actually very similar to Simba in that respect. But this is really honestly my only complaint about the set, is when we put the puppy sitting like this, when we turn him around, you could see a lot of the, open area on the back of the head. Now, by the time you display your puppy, you're not really going to see that, but it is just a little bit annoying that if you put the puppy in this sitting position, there technically is all of that exposed space in the back that you do have to think about. But there's so much more that I like about this set that really just kind of wanes to me. It's not a big deal, but I do think it is worth noting in terms of doing a full objective review of the entire set. So that being said, let's go ahead and wrap up this video and call it a day. Alright, guys. Well, needless to say, these sets are really, really neat for the Disney fans out there. I think if you like 101 Dalmatians, the smaller set at $20 is an absolute no-brainer. It's just a fun little build you could build pretty quick and just have a good time with. But the bigger one at $150, I mean, this is $20 more than the Simba set from last year. So it is more expensive, but the fact that it's so customizable, so posable, and so adorable, it's one that I just can't help but love. Like I said, I think this is easily one of my favorite sets of the year. I still love that Blacktron Renegade from the beginning of the year, but man, oh man, this one is a very close second. I can't wait to see how the rest of the year shapes up, and let me know what you guys think.